Welcome to another episode of the Palm Tree Perspective, where we give you the latest in West Coast sports. It's your boy Hamilton James here with my co-host Randall Hamilton. What's going on, Randall? How you doing, bro?
What's going on? And it's playoff time, man. Best time of
Playoff
the
time,
year,
a lot
man.
of
Excited, man.
the best time for NBA basketball. Now we here. You know what I'm
Man.
saying? All the stuff, all the BS and all the comments and all the criticism we got for the NBA. This is the moneymaker of the NBA right here. It's the playoffs, baby. You know what I'm saying? We got the Lakers in the third seed right now, so I'm feeling good. As y'all can see, Lakers in 5. You know what I mean? Man, the playing games were pretty dope too. Yeah, Randall, go ahead, man. Let's start them off.
All right, well, first and foremost, let's get right to it, man. Lakers T-Wolves. Lakers rose up to the 3 seed after Luka Doncic's trade that swept the nation. If we're going up against the Minnesota T-Wolves, Anthony Edwards is the 4th leading scorer in the NBA this season. He has the 2nd most three-point attempts in the league this year. They're also going up against the Wolves team that has a lot of size with Rudy Gobert. So, Ham, what do you think about the Lakers this series?
It's Lakers in 5, Randall. I don't care. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care how nobody feel. The Timberwolves are depleted. They're not the same team as last year. Yeah, Anthony Edwards, he balling, but I mean, that's only one man. We seen what Luka did to the Timberwolves last year. We know what time LeBron James is. We see how Austin Reeves is moving. I'm sorry, Lakers in 5. Like, I'm not even Lakers in 5. I think that if Ant is the superstar that he claims, that people think he is, he could get him to a 6th game. But knowing LeBron, knowing that how he cares about the urgency, he's gonna have that on Luka's bumper. Luka got something to prove because he's trying to win the championship. They gonna knock them boys out. I really don't trust Rudy Gobert in the playoffs. Julius Randle, he's cool, but he ain't moving the needle. They got worse with Julius Randle. They didn't get better when they lost Cat. And I mean, yeah, they got Naz Reid. He's cool, but I'm not worried about the Timberwolves. I know that the Lakers are gonna come in. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Timberwolves got 1 in LA. But the Lakers gonna do what they need to do. I can see the Lakers winning in 5.
I do think the Lakers will win, but I think it'll be in 6. Now, here's why I think the Wolves have a little bit better of a shot. It's because the Wolves are the 4th. I believe they're the 4th best defensive team in the league, so they're a very good defensive team. Jay McDaniels is one of the top defenders in the league, and is a pretty good defender on the perimeter. And now, obviously, like Rudy Gobert. Now, the key for the Lakers is going to be, can Luka and Reeves and LeBron, can they get him outside and pick and roll action, draw him out to the perimeter, get him outside the paint to where he's not much of a presence inside when it comes to shot blocking. I am a little bit concerned about the Lakers as far as rebounding is concerned, because Rudy Gobert is one of the top rebounders in the league. And when I looked up the numbers, the Lakers are the 5th worst rebounding team in the league. So that is something that, we do have to point out. But that being said, I do think that JJ Redick is going to come up with a plan defensively to be able to. I think he'll be, once they try to get Gobert inside, I think they're going to use some of that the way that they played Jokic, where they're going to harass him with Vando and Finney Smith and multiple guys. They're going to run multiple guys at him, and Julius Randle as well, because Julius Randle likes to put the ball on the floor. So I do think they'll have something for their bigs. I think the key is also bench play. We have to neutralize Minnesota's bench play, because Naz Reid is the reigning 6th man of the year from last year. And they also have DiVincenzo coming off the bench, who's a veteran piece that can perform in the playoffs. But that being said, when it comes to Julius Randle, he doesn't have a very good track record when it comes to playoff performance with the Knicks. And it's going to be, I think one of the main X factors for the Lakers is going to be Rui. I need Rui to have a really good series. And I think he's also going to be another guy that's going to be responsible for drawing Rudy Gobert out of the paint. And if he can attack Julius Randle on the defensive end and force him into foul trouble and force him into committing stupid fouls, that's where I think the Lakers will definitely use it to their advantage. I have all the faith in the world in LeBron and Luka being able to do their thing, as well as Austin Reeves. So I think if we can just exploit those matchups and be able to play Rudy Gobert off the floor like Luka was able to do last year in the conference finals, that's where I think, we could be a little bit closer to year end where the Lakers could win in 5. But I do think Ant has been one of the better players in the league for the last couple of months. So I do think so. I mean, Ant is capable of willing them to a couple of games, but I don't think they'll be able to get 4. And I think another key point is we have to attack Mike Conley on the defensive end. Mike Conley is getting up there in age, so we do have to exploit him on the defensive end as well.
I like your analysis. I don't really disagree with anything you said. I would just say that I'm not really like Jaden McDaniels ain't gonna slow. He not gonna slow down nobody. You know what I mean? As good as of a defender, perimeter defender he might be, I don't think he's really gonna lock LeBron or Luka up. So and as far as Rudy Gobert, the formula to as like you said, the formula for Rudy Gobert is to essentially eliminate his defense. He's not really an offensive player, and if you neutralize his defense, he's not going to be able to really do much. And I think Rudy Gobert might be unplayable in this series. I think JJ Redick is a very smart coach. Even though he's a rookie, I think he's going to know how to exploit those weaknesses. You mentioned it yourself with Jokic, he was able to exploit some of that and tire him out. And you don't really have to worry about the offensive prowess of a Rudy Gobert. So all you got to really worry about is, like you said, make sure he's not in that paint so that your forwards and your guards can go in there and do what they need to do. So I can definitely, I almost think about when the Clippers played against the Jazz, a few years ago, and how just unplayable Gobert was. Once they kicked the ball out to the corner, it was curtains for him. Every time he had to go out and close out a defender, it was a wrap, and allowed the Clippers to be more. Allowed them to attack the basket more, and also allowed them to be more fluid with their offense. So I do think that Rudy Gobert could be a liability, but we'll have to see. Julius Randle, to your point, never really shows up in the playoffs, and maybe he gets a little extra juice because he's going against the Lakers, but he doesn't move the needle for me. I feel like this team is actually a step backwards losing Cat. Anthony Edwards is the biggest factor, of course, right? Anthony Edwards, I think he can win you 2 games. I think he could also be the reason why they don't win one of those 2 games. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he doesn't show up, or maybe he just comes up short. It remains to be seen, but we know then what he did in the first round last year. I just feel like it's a different team. I feel like this ain't the Suns. The Lakers, yeah, they're not really good rebounding per se, but LeBron's a good rebounder. See, maybe the team in itself isn't a great rebounding team, but they have good rebounders on the team. Luka's a good rebounder for his position. LeBron's a good rebounder for his position. I believe Vando's a good rebounder for his position. I think Rui's a good rebounder for his position. So there are guys who can rebound the ball. Maybe they don't, maybe they might get beat on the boards, but I don't think that the discrepancy is going to be like, 50 rebounds to, 20 rebounds. It might be like 50 rebounds to 42 or something like that, but I don't think they're going to get dominated on the boards. The Lakers understand that they're a small team, and so they're going to have to play scrappy.
I think to your point, I did look up the numbers a little bit before we went on, like during the 4 regular season games. Now, both teams split the season series in the regular season, each winning their games at home. But I believe 3 of the games we played them we played them open tonight, and we played them twice in the month of December. So all 3 of those games were with AD. We played them with 1 game with Luka in February when the Lakers won. I think in that game, the leading scorer was actually Terrence Shannon off the bench, who's probably not going to play this series. But I believe looking up Anthony Edwards' numbers against the Lakers this season, he actually did struggle against the Lakers this season. He only averaged about 18 points a game, and he averaged roughly around 27 per game during the regular season, which is well below his average. So the Lakers have done a good job as far as neutralizing Anthony Edwards. But now in the 2 games that Minnesota won on their home court, that's where they got the production off of their bench from DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nickeil Alexander-Walker could also knock down threes too. So I just think that if we can just neutralize some of their guys off their bench and just try to make Ant beat the Lakers by himself, then I think the Lakers will be in pretty good shape. So now we're going to move on to the LA Clippers. They're going to be going up against the Denver Nuggets in the 4-5 matchup. Very highly anticipated matchup, especially the battle of the bigs between Big Joker and Zubac. So, Ham, what is your prediction for this Clippers-Nuggets series?
All right, man. I got to give the Clippers the props. I got to give the Clippers it's the end of the season. I'm going to give the Clippers some respect. All year, you guys have heard me talk about, I don't know about the Clippers. I got to see it to believe it. I'll say that if Kawhi Leonard stays healthy, I could really see the Clippers beating Denver. Denver's in shambles. Let's just call it what it is, Randall. Denver's in shambles, bro. Their organization, they have stuff going on with the players, stuff going on with the organization. It's bad right now. And I don't care how good you are in Jokic and how great you are, and you are the best player in the league right now, I must admit. I don't think that the Nuggets are going to win this series. I think that the Clippers are going to win this in 6 in LA at home. I really see it.
I
If
agree.
Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy, it's going to be very dangerous because then we have to look at James Harden. And if James Harden, I can't believe I'm saying this. Wow. If playoff James Harden can be second fiddle and doesn't have to have all the pressure on him, I think he plays a little bit more loose. And I think he actually does perform pretty well for the Clippers. James Harden's been playing good basketball. He's a great player. He's a great player. We know this about James
James Harden. Hall of Famer.
He's going to Hall of Fame for sure. He's a great player. We know what he can do in the regular season, but when we start talking about the playoffs, Randall, it's just hard to vouch for bro.
I know.
Super hard to vouch for bro. So I'm just like, all right.
He's had some stinkers, man. Like
he's had
there's no way around it.
Playoff meltdowns. And after watching him last year at Philly, I would just say that if he can show up and he can give you 80% of what he gives you in the regular season, if Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy, Big Zubac, man, bro, I can't say enough about this guy. This guy is one of the most underrated centers in the game. This guy 100%. Is a double machine, and I'm not talking 10 and 10. He can give you 20 and 15.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we act like Zubac ain't a European player. He goes up against these guys. He sees these guys too. He sees the
accolades for the Joker.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that. What's old boy's name for the Rockets?
Sengun.
We're gonna get to him later. The Senguns and the Jokic's of the world. You know what I'm saying? The Vucevic's. Like, he sees them. He's like, yo, what about me? And he's been balling this year. So yeah, I can see the Clippers really making some noise. We got to give a little bit of love to Ty Lue. We got to give some love to Jeff Van Gundy. They've been holding it down. The Clippers have been. Think about where the Clippers really were at the beginning of the year. No one had the Clippers really doing nothing with Kawhi being out, with James Harden looking the way he did when we saw him last in the playoff. Nobody had the Clippers doing nothing, but looking like, oh, wow, you know, you guys messed up your franchise. But I must admit, they have actually produced, and that has a lot to do with the coaching, keeping them focused, making sure the rotations have been right. You had guys like Norman Powell step up. So the Clippers, I must admit that as hard and critical I was on the Clippers, which was rightfully so, you know, given their history in the last 5 years, I can say that these 2024, 2025 Clippers, they're a bit different. And if they can stay healthy, they can make some noise.
I think the main difference with this particular team is the chemistry that they have. I think I did hear Harden. I mean, he kind of vaguely alluded to like addition by subtraction. I know that they were probably talking about Paul George and most likely Russell Westbrook. Those guys leave, and then now they bring in some new guys like the Chris Dunns, you know, like Derrick Jones Jr. Derrick Jones Jr. has been huge for this team on the defensive side of the ball, you know. And I mean, the Clippers, I think they're one of the top defensive teams in the league themselves. So the main key, and I think that's what's going to be the difference as far as them winning the series against the Denver Nuggets, because the Nuggets right now are 25th in the NBA when it comes to points allowed. I mean, that is not going to get it done when it comes to playoff basketball. Defensive rebounding is very important when it comes to the playoffs. And, you know, and also, you know, the Nuggets, they don't have Mike Malone when it comes to coaching. So now they have an inexperienced interim coach going up against the championship coach and Tyronn Lue. I mean, I've seen clips of where, like, the Joker is basically pulling the clipboard in the huddle, and he's the one that's drawing up plays in the huddle. So, I mean, damn, it seems like the Joker is the one that's coaching the team right now. So
you fired your championship. I mean, we haven't really gone there because we really trying to keep it just the basketball. You fired your championship winning coach 2 weeks before the playoffs start.
And mind you, this is the only coach that the Joker has ever had his entire career. Mike Malone has been with the Joker his entire career. Season when he was a second round pick all the way up until a couple of weeks ago.
It's so hard for me to keep it on track with playoff basketball when we start talking about, you know, teams like the Mavericks who got eliminated, bounced out from the play-in. Teams like the Nuggets who just fired their head coach who got them to the championship. Mind you that the Mavericks got to the championship last year. I'm just like, you know, I don't want to go too left with it, and this might be better for another episode, but the NBA that we grew up watching and appreciating, the history behind it, the legacy behind it, is no more.
Different league, man.
It's no more. Someone sent me a tweet earlier that said something about coaches not wearing suits no more, and guys not showing up and yada yada, and like this is just what the NBA has become. Like it's lost its aura, and I really believe in that. Because of just whether it's a superstar player getting traded and he shouldn't be getting traded because he's the franchise and he's the one that's supposed to have a statue there, or you letting go of championship winning coaches because they have one bad season after, or they have one season where they're not together, where the team's not together, whatever. Just the allure of what we grew up watching to be the NBA, the specialness of it, the aura of it, it's dissipated a lot. And I don't want to say too much, but I just wanted to leave it at that. I had to mention that since we brought up the Nuggets. We're talking about the Nuggets right now.
I mean, I think really what's just happening is just like, I mean, coaching has just been massively devalued in the NBA. Whether it was the Lakers getting rid of Vogel, 2 years after a championship, the Bucks got rid of Budenholzer 2 years after a championship. So it's like it goes all the way back to I mean, Dwayne Casey, I think, was coach of the year, got fired.
Toronto, George Karl. Coach of the year when they had Aaron Afalo and Danilo Gallinari and Ty Lawson, and he won Coach of the Year. Got fired that same season.
Yeah, I remember that.
What message does that send? From not just from a sports aspect, but from a professional aspect. You know what I'm saying? From an organizational aspect. What message does that send when the person that helps you get to the Mecca, you cut him off? Really for what? Because the coach and the GM were fighting, you get rid of the GM, then you keep your championship winning coach and find him someone else. But cleaning house 2 weeks before the playoffs start means you don't care about your fans, you don't care about the team, and it's just these tickets $200, $300. the message, I'm going there because what is the message that these guys are sending? The organizations, what message are you sending to your fans? You guys want people to pay for this?
Actually, we didn't even bring up Mike Brown. I mean, he got fired earlier this year too.
Sacramento
was 3 seed 2 years ago.
3 seed 2 years ago. Traded De'Aaron Fox. I don't understand it, man. And then you want people to support your product. And it's just crazy to me.
Now where does Sacramento go from here? They're bouncing the play in.
You have DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, who couldn't get it done in a weak Eastern Conference with the Bulls. And now you put them in the West. And a lot of it is starting to feel like it's coming down to money. And it's like,
always,
it's like these owners are greedy. It's like you guys, it's like they want the maximum amount of production with the least amount of talent. That doesn't work.
Allison family down in Dallas didn't want to give Luka the Supermax,
because you don't want to pay the money. Because you don't want to pay the money. That's why. It's not because you don't want to pay.
Nico's a fall guy.
That's why I stopped. That's why, I'm not even looking at Nico like that. I stopped using his name because the ownership, the people who own it now, the family who owns it, signed off on that because they don't want to pay Luka. But still, what was the optics though? You didn't go AD put up 40. He still got hurt in the middle of the game, Randall. You know what I'm saying? He can't, and kudos to him for playing it out. But man, he got hurt in the middle of the game. And if you're a Mavs fan, remember the window's supposed to be 2 or 3 years. If you're a Mavs fan, you're looking at AD like, man, you got hurt. What? Like, you're always hurt. You were hurt with the Lakers. The one time you weren't, you won a championship, but you had LeBron. You were hurt with the Lakers. You came to the Mavs. Your first game, you got hurt. You're always hurt, and you're 32 compared to the 20. Luka is 26. Yada yada. It's just bad, bro. It's just bad. It's bad. It's bad business. It's bad basketball. I don't know what the NBA is doing. I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, but last but not least, we're going to move on to the 2-7 matchup in the Western Conference, where the Golden State Warriors, who are the 7th seed, they're going to go up against the number 2 seed, the Houston Rockets. So, Ham, what's your prediction for this matchup?
I got the Warriors. I got the Warriors in 6. I think the Warriors are going to close it out. Almost reminds me of when they played against the Kings 2 years ago, and just the experience. I think the experience is really going to come through. I think Don't sleep on playoff Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy Butler is a bucket. He's a bucket, and he plays defense. And it's playoff time, so we know how he gets there. Jimmy Butler carried a team to the finals by himself twice in the last within the last 5 years, twice. So man, now you got Curry, now Draymond playing inspired ball. Yeah, these guys, it's the Warriors are dangerous, man. I'm not gonna hold it. The Warriors are dangerous.
100%.
They're dangerous, and I think that they're going to. I think if you ask me, I think this is exactly what they wanted. And out of all the teams that's in the West, I think this is probably the team that they wanted to see the most, the team that lacks the most experience. Now I know I like the Rockets youth. I like Jalen Green. I like Sengun. You know what I'm saying? I like their experience that they got Fred Van Fleet. So they have guys who've been there before. But I don't know. I think they'll compete. I think the games will be close, but I think that the Warriors will find ways to win the games. And because of that, I feel like they'll win in 6.
I think one of the things that when I was watching the play-in game the other day when they were going up against the Grizzlies, I think one of the things that, and I think Udonis Haslam, I think recently brought this up on, I don't know if it was on the halftime show or on NBA Today, one of them ESPN shows, but he brought up about Jimmy's IQ and that, like Jimmy's basketball IQ. And when you watch that game the other day against the Grizzlies, like you saw, I think he doesn't get enough credit for like how unselfish he plays when it comes to, he's a willing passer. He's willing to pass the ball. Like, yes, he can score the basketball, but he also plays unselfishly, and he's typically the type of guy, like, he doesn't necessarily need to have like 20 or 30 points every single game in order to still have an impact. So, I think he's really like on the floor, he's definitely a team guy. And I think, he's definitely done a lot for the younger players. I mean, we're seeing, the emergence. I mean, Brandon Pajemski, he's been, you could tell he's been there. Even some of the young guys, even like the Santos kid off the bench, he's stepped in and playing well. Quentin Post, like those young guys, like they've been, energized by having Jimmy around. It's one thing to hear it from like the veteran mainstays, like, Steph and Draymond, but, just having another guy, like from a leadership perspective, and, of course, you always love to bring up, Jimmy being the dog, but it's like, but I mean, I do think he really just inspires those guys and really gets them to play their best basketball. So, I mean, I do think when it comes to this series against the Rockets, now both of these teams are in the top 10 defensively. I do think the Rockets are ranked slightly higher. Now, Ime Udoka is a hell of a coach, so I do think he's going to have a really good game plan for the Rockets. But I do think, like you said, it's really going to come down to late in games. The Warriors are going to have the edge when it comes to that experience aspect of it. And a lot of times these games do come down to a few possessions in the playoffs. So I'm with you. I do think the Warriors will win this series in 6 games, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7, just because I do think the Rockets are a young, scrappy team, and they are the number 2 seed for a reason. So I do think the Rockets could potentially give them a run for their money. Now, when I looked at the numbers, Steph Curry did struggle a little bit against the Rockets during the regular season, but I do think Steph will have some come playoff time as well as Jimmy. I think the Warriors are definitely a bona fide championship contender right now in the West. So they are a number 7 seed, so they are going to have to go on the road pretty much every series. But given the veteran team that Golden State is, I think that's not going to intimidate them at all.
I'll piggyback off of you. I wouldn't be surprised that Ime Udoka actually outcoached Steve Kerr in this series. But I feel like the players, at the end of the day, the players are the reason why I feel like the Warriors could, when it comes to close game situations, the Warriors could close it out. I think it will come down to the players. But if you talk about the coaching, I think Ime Udoka might outcoach Steve Kerr. And that's part of the reason why it could go to a 7-game series. I'm not completely saying like the Rockets are weak. Like, I know the Rockets, they're scrappy. And one thing about Udoka, he can get the best out of young guys. We've seen that already, So, and he has them believing. They're a 2nd seed for a reason. That team believes in themselves, and they're ready. They're ready to take it on the chin and then squabble right back with you. So I'm not sitting here like, oh, it's going to be a close game. I think this is going to be a great series. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be a great first round series. But I just think that when it comes to closing it out and having that experience, I think that's where a playoff Jimmy comes in. That's where a Steph Curry comes in, even a Draymond. You know what I'm saying? So That's how I feel about it. But yeah, I definitely see it going to a 7. But I think that the Warriors will close out in 6. They won't play with their food.
Yeah, but I mean, I think all the West matchups are going to be exciting. Like even the 1-8 matchup when it comes to Memphis and OKC. Like I mean, John Morant going up against Shea. That's a very good matchup too. So I mean, I think West matchups are going to be really entertaining. Now, in the Eastern Conference, I mean, I think
that's why we the palm tree perspective when we talk about the West Coast sports, baby, the latest in West Coast. Because there ain't nothing really to talk about in the East, man. I'm sorry. Man.
They're waiting for that Cavs Celtics Eastern Conference Finals, but even though Milwaukee's kind of a sleeper, though.
I would say Orlando's a sleeper too. I got Orlando as a sleeper. You don't think so?
Nah. That's gonna be quick and painless. Celtics gonna win that 5 games. But that's pretty much how that's gonna go down. But man. But anyway, I think that's gonna be a wrap for this episode. Check us out on Paul Tree Perspective. Make sure y'all subscribe to Stacey on Sports on YouTube. Ham, anything to plug?
You can find me on Instagram at Hennessy Ham. You can find me on TikTok at 818 Hammy. We're gonna get this Palm Tree Perspective TikTok going soon too, y'all, because people have been asking me. We gonna get it going soon. So, but right now, follow us on those social media platforms. And again, shout out to the guy Stacey for allowing us to do our thing once a week. The platform has been amazing, man. We're finally at the playoffs now. We've been talking, we got through the NFL playoffs. We got through the World Series. So we've been doing this for a cool little minute, Randall, and I appreciate you, brother, for, rocking with me. We always, man. A lot of people don't even know it's 11 o'clock at night right now on a Friday. You know what I'm saying? Most people out partying and having a good time, and we out here, doing what we talking sports. So we appreciate y'all for watching us. And we don't keep giving it to you because this is the Palm Tree Perspective where we talk about the latest in the West Coast.
And also, I want to give a shout out to the LA Kings. They're also in the playoffs too. They're going up against the Edmonton
Kings.
They're playing them for the 4th year in a row. But this time they'll have home ice advantage this time. So good luck to the LA Kings in their playoff run too. Hey, Lakers, Kings, let's bring one home. Let's bring both of them home. Championship. Let's get it.
Let's get it, y'all. Have a good one. Lakers in 5.
Yay.